Hey everybody, welcome back to JKS Manufacturing. I'm Nate. This is my Jeep. A little bit of a different situation because I'm usually the guy that's behind the camera, but today I'm in front of the camera.
And you're doing a good job too, buddy.
Oh, stop it, you're doing a good job yourself. So without further ado, this is my Jeep. Boy, post-production Nate really likes the stomp stomp clap rock. What are you gonna do? He's super basic. All right, so let's actually talk about this thing. So the reason why I built this Jeep was I wanted to set a goal out because the brand new 2018 and newer JL Wranglers, the Rubicon models, are anywhere from like $45,000 up to $65,000 or even more, depending on which dealership you go to. And I wanted to set a little goal here to see how crazy of a build I could do for the same, if not less money than a stock Wrangler JL. So I got a JK platform Rubicon and pretty much did what I did, built it up. So I'll go over the final pricing and everything of how close I came to the stock price of a JL Wrangler with everything put into this JK Rubicon. So stick around for the end of the video for all that stuff. But for right now, let's go ahead and dive in. So up front, we have a Crawltech Inferno Series front bumper. It is their stubby width bumper, but it's also a frame chop bumper. So that means we chop off part of the front of the frame, bring the front in a little bit tighter. That'll give us a lot better approach angle out on the trails. And not to mention, it is a solid structure. And we have 2 points for D-rings to go in and plug in for recovery. Inside the bumper, we have a Warren winch rated for 10,500 pounds, has a synthetic rope in it paired with a Factor 55 Pro Link. And basically all that together is going to equate to some safe recovery if we have to winch to another vehicle, if we have to winch, that was an old Model T. Oh my gosh, I was doing so good earlier today.
That's okay, man. Just deep breaths. Just deep breaths. You can do this.
Deep breaths, deep breaths. Moving behind the winch, I replaced the factory grille with a new gloss black grille. The factory one that was on there was really stained with a lot of rust and all that kind of stuff. Just looks pretty gross, so gave it a nice accent with a nice black grille. Changed out the headlights because the stock headlights are, you know. So we have the KC Gravity Series 7-inch LED lights. They're a great headlight to have for these Jeeps because nighttime when you have LED lights, a lot of time you're making a lot of other people mad when you're behind them. These ones are actually pretty understated as far as the low beams. When you flip on the high beams though, you're good. It's going to turn to daylight like no problem. I changed out the turn signals here to the Recon turn signals just to go with the flow of turning all the lights in here to LED lights. So no more halogens going on here, all LED, high efficiency, super bright stuff going on. So next I want to move on to
Hey, don't forget about that steering up front.
I was just about to get to that.
Just saying.
So up front, I have the steering completely upgraded. So we got rid of the factory steering and we replaced it with some 1-ton steering from Steer Smarts. It's a smart thing. See what I did there? It's a smart thing to upgrade your steering because when you're running an oversized tire out on the trails and stuff, you need extra control, you need extra strength. Otherwise, you're going to be snapping drag links, you're going to be bending tie rod. It's a bad scenario to be. So make sure you upgrade your steering. That's what I did here with my Jeep, and I'm very happy with it because when we're out in the rocks with it, it gets a little dicey. So this Jeep does have a heat extraction performance hood on it. This actually came with the Jeep when we bought it, but we dressed it up with some extra vinyl badging and stuff. Really dressed it up, looks pretty good. Over here we have narrow fender flares. These are made by KBD Body Kits out of California. These fenders look like a tubular steel design, but they're actually made out of polyurethane plastic, which I prefer actually because when I'm out on the trails and stuff and I have tree branches or some sort of whatever on the trail comes and hits the side of the Jeep, this will just deflect down and come right back up versus actually denting in and possibly denting the entire fender of the Jeep. All right, so let's talk about tires that I put on this thing. So I've got 37-inch Mickey Thompson Baja Boss MTs. Now the whole tire size is a 37-1250 R17. I run a 17-inch wheel on this Jeep because I make good life choices. feel like I got to talk about something else. I'm missing something big or whatever. Man, if he doesn't talk about the JKS suspension, I am going to lose it. The suspension on this Jeep,
Thank goodness,
is a 3.5-inch JKS J-Crawl suspension. Replaces all 8 control arms on the Jeep, gives you the dual rate coil springs, and I opted even for the Fox 2.0 remote reservoir shocks. This whole package just transforms this Jeep. So I can go on-road, have all the comfort and luxury I want out of a solid axle 2-door Jeep, and then I can take it off-road and just completely do everything and anything I want. Like it just doesn't care. Like this Jeep, you just throw it on the rocks, it does it. Underneath the Jeep, I have it completely skidded up with Barnes 4-wheel drive skids. We're talking 1/4-inch thick steel, very heavy stuff, really bad for fuel economy, but boy, when I'm on the trail, I don't worry about a thing getting broken underneath. Going around to the side of the Jeep is an accessory that a lot of my friends really like, including myself, because obviously I put them on there. It's the best top core doors. They're a half-door setup. They look just like the factory Mopar half doors, except for they're a little bit cooler because the center panel can pop out and you get a full wind, air, breeze, all that kind of stuff when you're on the trail. But to be honest, they just look really cool. So below the core doors, I have rocker guards and body cladding made by Crawltech Revolution. These are important pieces to have because when you're out on the trail and stuff like that, you got rocks, trees, whatever that comes up from the side, it could damage the rocker panels and potentially dent them up into the doors to the point where your doors don't open anymore. Don't ask me how I know that. So being that this Jeep has the 3.8 liter V6 and 15 gallons of fuel capacity, to me, it just didn't seem like quite enough. So I got the Excessive Industries Rotopax carrier on the tailgate of this Jeep. And that way I can carry 2 3-gallon Rotopax on the back. So that way I can get a little bit of extra range in case I catch myself in a sticky situation way out in the trails. So when I removed the factory fenders from the Jeep, maybe we try that again. When I removed the factory fender flares from the Jeep, it also took the inners out as well. So I had the whole engine exposed in the front. Didn't look that great, and I also didn't want a whole bunch of mud and stuff just directly hitting the engine and the belts and all that kind of stuff. So what I did was I filled that all in with a Crawltech Revolution inner fender. It does a great job covering up the engine and all that stuff. It also has perforated metal as well, so that way I have heat extraction through the bottom. I also have it in the rear. Not exactly necessary to put an inner fender in the rear, but when you remove the factory one, it looks kind of, like it's missing something back there. So it makes a good accent piece to put back there just to clean it up on the inside of the wheel wells. So I removed the tire carrier that came with this Jeep because it just made a whole bunch of noise going down the road. Lots of rattles, creaks, whatever. I didn't like it at all, and I replaced it with an Excessive Industries tire carrier. It's actually called their Gatekeeper tire carrier, and it's great because it mounts on both sides of the Jeep, has 6 points of mounting, and it's fully gusseted, tubular design, and it can hold a 37 to 40-inch tire without any issues. I mean, when I'm on the dirt short course track or I'm on the rock piles, I can get all 4 tires off the ground on this Jeep, land, and that tire carrier won't make a sound. So for the interior of the Jeep, not a whole lot happened. I did some neoprene seat covers to cover over some of the rips in the leather. From there, I went ahead and got the Grab Bar USA grab bars. They are a great thing to have for getting in and out of the Jeep. And then across the dashboard, I have a Vector off-road dash bar. That helps me, accessorize the dash a little bit more so I can mount my cell phone, mount cameras, whatever I want. And I can use standard bar mounts in order to put stuff on the dash of the Jeep, because that's what you do. I replaced the factory visors in the Jeep with the Axis tinted visors, so that way I can still see when they're fully folded down. From there, I didn't think I'd ever be the guy to run like a spider web shade or something like that, because I just didn't see the point until I actually put one on the Jeep and used it. So I've got a spider web shade on top, and it still allows me to have the open feel of the Jeep with no top, but at the same time, I don't have sunburn. So life's pretty great. Plus, I got an American flag on top. I do get a lot of questions about this other part that I have on my Jeep, which is I put another spider web shade behind the seats. And I did that because I drive the Jeep across the country without a top on it, because I refuse to drive Jeeps with tops on them. It's just not as much fun. So my Jeep never has a top on it. And I put the spider web shade back there in case I get caught in a heavy rainstorm or something like that. It keeps the water from coming in from the back of the Jeep and getting all over the electronics in the dash and that kind of thing. So one thing that I learned when I was shopping around for the cheapest possible two-door Rubicon that I could get was that it's a bit of a headache when you first get it. So we didn't have functioning brakes. We didn't have, the engine really wasn't that great when we tried to limp it to the shop. So right out the gate, we didn't get to do any of the fun accessories. So we did a new battery, starter, plugs, wires, air intake, all new brakes. So calipers, pads, brake lines, full engine flush. I mean, all new fluids all the way throughout the vehicle. It was, you know, it was a lot to do, especially when you're eager to really want to get into that Jeep life, but the Jeep doesn't really want to get going until it gets all the mechanicals fixed. But anyways, when we got all that sorted out, obviously then we got all the cool fun accessories like the JKS suspension, Crawltech armor, fenders, wheels, tires, all that fun stuff done. And so when we compare this Jeep with everything that's done to it, so Jeep and all compared to a brand new stock JL Rubicon, JL Rubicons being anywhere from, you know, $45,000 to $65,000 in price tag. This Jeep all in with everything done to it, including the Jeep itself, we're looking at about $30,000 to $32,000 depending on where you want to put your labor rates and all that kind of stuff. So I think that we did pretty good. So I mean, we have a perfectly fine functioning Jeep. Obviously it's going to be a little bit slower with less power than the new Wranglers, but I mean, I'm not really into this Jeep for going fast. I just want to have fun out on the trails, and that's exactly why I built this Jeep, is to go out on the trails, go rock crawling, all that stuff. It's a weekend Jeep that I can have some fun in. Thank you guys for watching the video, and if you want to learn more about JKS Suspension, go visit them at jksmfg.com, and make sure you follow us on Instagram and like us on Facebook. For right now, guys, I'm gonna get in this Jeep, go hit some more trails. We'll catch you later.